Steve Anderson, and welcome to my site, Apologia. Apologia is dedicated in highlighting many of my Facebook friends. I'm speaking with Laura Casaletto, aka God. I have known Laura for many years. Laura has been an activist, atheist group organizer, and donations leader for the poor and the homeless. Welcome, Laura.
Hi, Steve. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well, and I hope you're doing as well. Good. All right. Well, first of all, thank you for taking the time out. And I just wanted to invite you to Apologia and get your thoughts and your feelings on certain things. So I try to keep these things down to about 15 minutes. So that way people don't get bored and they focus on, what we're talking about. So that way we're not babbling, but yet we're getting right down to the bare bones. So if that's all right with you, I'll start with my first question and we can kind of go from there. And it's open-ended, so we can just have conversation. This is not an interview or anything like that, okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Emphasis on brevity, typical Western attitude. I'm
there you
down.
go. Okay, cool. Well, when did you first recognize that you were a non-believer in God?
Well, I was never really an atheist. I
Yeah,
just joined that atheist group because they had such interesting conversations.
yes,
And the topics drew me and continued to draw me. And there used to be a lot of very old people there, people who had seen World War II, and they had such a great view of history as a big arc, more than I did, that
yes.
I was fascinated. These were ideas I hadn't had before. So I kept coming. And I ended up running that group because I can figure out how a thing needs to be run. But
Oh, okay.
there were
So,
rules to being an atheist, and I found that I only subscribe to most, but not all of them.
oh, okay. All right. So where did you meet when you first started going? Was that at Schuler's?
No, no, no. I was part of that group for years.
Pre-thought of West Michigan?
Yeah, almost the entire time I've lived here, about 20 years.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to mention any names of groups because, and I apologize for doing that because, we want to have a open and cordial conversation, and I cast no aspersions at or to anyone. So I just wanted to clarify what group it was. So anyhow, so that's good. Okay. So what else about it? How long have you been going to the group?
Um, I went for about 20 years,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I would just show up when I could and just mostly listen. I mean, I had 5 children that I was trying to raise, so just sitting and thinking was a delight to me.
Sure.
You know, aside from like, what must I do today? Uh,
Right.
yeah. And by the way, I think we should cast aspersions all over the place if we feel like it. But I'm not interested in picking on them. It's just that you and I ended up in a discussion group that met and kind of had a lot more fun than that atheist group, right?
Yeah, well, I think so. I'd like to say that we kind of diverged, if you will, from maybe some of the tenets of the group, and some of the leaders of that group may have found that unacceptable. Would that be a fair way to describe it?
Oh, yes. Um, one of their rules was that you could not believe in anything metaphysical. And I thought that things beyond our understanding were possible.
Of course.
I mean, why shut that possibility out?
You know, that is ironic because, of course, free thought historically means thinking about things without the supernatural. But yet, from a general word free thought, the idea that you can think freely, and yet they're wanting to kind of censor, different areas of conversation because they fall into, metaphysical, conversations. That's pretty weird. So, what share some of that experience and the backlash that you received and how you came through it and where you're at today with it.
Well, uh, I was running a discussion group for them and tweaking it. I would rearrange the seats so that we would sit more together as a group, and I would get up and I would walk around and I would hug people, and I wanted to get more connected with the people there and really
Sure.
have them free to think and comfortable. And that wasn't approved of. And when our group had ideas, they were quashed. So we just sort of rebelled. And I think the story of that is not particularly interesting to the average random person. What is interesting is how my thinking changed as I sort of swam around in these waters.
Okay.
And, I learned things. I learned that, well, obviously, if you kind of get rid of snobbery and judgment and physical stiffness in a person, they'll talk more openly to you and you'll get more of
Absolutely.
what really matters. And,
I agree.
a lot of people rely on their education and then they sort of put it right in front of you and shove it at you so that you're
Oh, yeah.
impressed. And education is great, but
Of course.
it's only what it is. And I studied a lot of psychology at that time because I was very curious what made people tick.
Yes.
And sure enough, there's a lot of experiments there that were things that you or I might observe, but where was proof? When you read psychology, you understand more about what's really making people tick.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Well, that had to be difficult for you. So, how did you escape that morass, if I may call it a morass?
Oh, well, they excommunicated me. And
How poetic. You're in an atheist group and you were excommunicated. That is just beautiful.
I had been trying to work with them, but they excommunicated me. I hate to waste my 15 minutes on them. I really do, Steve. Let's
No,
talk.
of course not.
Let's go
But I wanted to just do a little snippet of history so we can go from then to now. So let's go to now. Cool.
Okay.
I'm all ears.
Well, now we have a discussion group and we talk about whatever we want. And out of that grew some charity efforts. And we've gotten to be friends. We look out for each other. We find out if someone needs something.
Sure.
And okay, I guess you could say it's more like a church community, but
Yes.
I don't believe in God.
Yes.
Uh,
Well, isn't that ironic? The very thing that may have initially attracted you to a group that was not like a church has actually kind of gone full circle now, and we both found out that these atheist groups in many ways are quite similar in many respects, dogmatically, uh, and in other ways, formalities, different ways of thinking, groupthink, if you will. And now you've been able to free yourself of that. And the conversations that you've come up with, and this is every week. Where is the group located, and what time do they meet? And so can you share a little information with me there?
Oh, sure. We're here in Grand Rapids, and we meet at a dive bar called the Hideout up on the
Love
second.
that bar, man.
They do have good beer, and it's unpasteurized,
Yeah,
and that is supposed to be really good for your gut biota. Just
sure,
saying.
sure.
We meet on Sundays at 5 p.m. and we talk about whatever we think up to talk about. A lot of times I'll just, something catches my mind. You know, I'm an artist. So a thing will just catch in your mind and you kind of keep going back to it and you have to figure out why it's appealing to you and what it's trying to tell you.
Exactly.
Although that's a weird way to put it, but,
No,
but
but it's a good way to put it. Yeah,
yeah, you just circle around something for a while. And then so a lot of times I'll bring that to the group and I'll use the group mind and get more insights. And the thing that has always made me keep doing this, because I've done a lot of things briefly. I used to work in a peace and justice group for years and years,
oh,
but
okay.
uh, I didn't feel like I was learning anything new. But at Free Thought, I keep finding it valuable. I keep getting new insights. So that's why I keep doing it. Otherwise, I'd quit.
Sure, sure. Well, you only want to do things when they're fun. If it gets to the point where it's not fun, then why do it? So, no, I agree. So, what's the topic this coming? It's every Sunday, you said. So, what's the topic this coming week? Isn't it about religion or losing your religion or something to that effect?
Um, yeah, I was thinking about what we lose if we get rid of religion. As a culture, as a group, what have we lost? And they would be intangibles that I'm interested in, not churches, but things like the unconditional nature of love or unconditional love. Um,
Yes.
is that a logical thing? I don't think it is at all,
No.
and can't be explained in terms of logic. And I think one of the best questions I came up with when I was thinking about atheists and their view and their dependence on science was that there are things that they could not get their handle on at all if someone way outside of science hadn't found it first,
Yes.
used it, been successful or productive with it, and then science looked at that. For example, yoga or
Correct.
things like that.
Meditation. That's
Yeah,
become
science would
more of a
never.
almost a scientific. Science is certainly interested in brain scanning those that practice meditation or are actually in the midst of meditating and seeing the brain wave and the synapses firing or firing less in the brain or at least different areas of the brain. So something may start out as a metaphysical thing, and yet actually science kind of picks up on that and either substantiates that as being true or poo-poos it. But so much of what we call metaphysical, yes, science proves to be, in many cases, to be indicating that there's something there.
Can I say that our stories bring us together for as long as we believe in them?
Yes, well, the narratives that we've developed for the tens of thousands of years that Homo sapiens have been on Earth, these stories have meaning. There's moral truths that can come from them, and to throw the baby out with the bathwater by all of a sudden ignoring these narratives and these old stories is a mistake. Would that be a fair statement?
Oh, you frozen. I don't know if I'm frozen.
No,
Ah,
no. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello? Oh, I'm sorry for the technical. Let's see if we can get this going here.
You're back. You're back.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It was just getting interesting.
Okay. Well, it looks like it's still recording. So, there's always going to be technical glitches. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we had trouble with our internet today, and I rebooted the whole thing.